One thing is true about money. We work very hard for it, and once we spend it, it is truly gone. But there is a way to keep more and more of it if you just learn a few simple tricks. Today, we're going to talk about how I spend or don't spend my money. When it comes to spending money, I think my mindset is probably the most important thing because it's different about how everybody else thinks about spending money. Meaning, maybe some friends come over and we'll decide to go out and get a cup of coffee. We're going to go out for dinner. We're going to have a night on the town. We live in Las Vegas and there's so much to do. Already, most people in their mind are thinking, okay, where can we go? What's it going to cost to go there? What's it going to cost to get in? How much is it going to cost to dine out at this particular restaurant? Do we have a reservation? They're thinking about 20 different things we're going to do that are all going to cost money. I'm just thinking about a night out. But I'm not necessarily thinking about spending a ton of money just because I want to have a night out. You know, here in Vegas, I have relatives who come to visit us and maybe they want to go see a show. I have some friends who don't live in town. They live, maybe over the hill in California and they want to come and do something in Vegas for the week. I say there is a ton of stuff that you can actually do in this town where you aren't spending money. See, my thinking is we can go over to the Bellagio. It's the holidays now and they do this great interior display and they do this for like most of the seasons, right? Whether it's 4th of July or Christmas or New Year's or something, there's always something decorative and festive going on. Of course, there's the fountain show. Of course, there is live music at Carousel Court, which is free and you can go see bands. And there's actually a lot of venues where you can go see bands for free. Now, of course, we're going to eat out at some point, but once again, we don't have to go to the most expensive place. I know excellent food establishments where you're not going to get raked over the coals to eat. In other words, my whole mindset is I'm going to go out into the world and I'm not already thinking about blowing all of my dough. I'm actually thinking about how I can have a good time and do the things I want to do, but it's going to be cost effective. So the real saving or spending of money starts in the mind. It starts with how you think about money. Also, you plan, right? So I plan when I go out. I'm not just kind of winging everything I do. It's sort of like when you take a trip and you just wing everything you do. I don't like that because you end up spending a ton of money. If I'm going to have to take a road trip and I've got business to do in California, one of the things I usually do, or two of the things I do, is one, I take a to-go coffee for the first hour ride on the road, and I usually always pack a small cooler that has snacks and things I need that I can just, if I get snacky and want some almonds or something, I can grab a apple out of the cooler, right? A lot of people don't do that. They don't plan. They just say, hey, we're going here. Let's get in the car. Let's go. And they fly by the seat of their pants. And believe me, the first rest stop you come to where you want a cup of coffee and bowl of almonds, you're going to pay $20, okay? Everything is so expensive today, especially when you get out in the middle of nowhere and they know they've got you. They can just rake you over the coals. So I plan, and planning and just thinking about things ahead of time really saves me so much money. It's not that I think I'm not going to spend any money. I know I'm going to spend money and I'm okay with that. But I just want to keep more of it in my bank account if I can. And planning helps me do that. Just how I think about before I go out. So it starts in the mind. That's the real savings and that's where it begins. The second thing I do is I don't go to discount stores anymore. Now I used to, right? So I grew up on the East Coast. I lived in Boston for years and then I moved up to Maine. And in Maine, there's a ton of discount stores, right? Everywhere you go. You drive a few miles, there's another dollar store, there's another Dollar General, there's another Savers. And you go in but the problem with these discount stores is everything's discounted for a reason. Well, the reason is the quality sucks. I mean, everything just truly sucks. It's not even, it's one-time use, it's no-time use. I mean, you buy a spatula and you're going to get a spatula for $1 or $2, but it is absolute junk and it is absolute crap. And after shopping at those places for years, right, it was just so convenient. You'd stop in, you'd get something you need, whether it was, paper plates or a bar of soap or a spatula or a can opener. Yes, it was cheap. Yeah, it was absolutely cheap, but it was worth nothing. It wasn't even worth what I paid for it. So it was a 100% waste. Today, I'm more about investing in quality, right? What's the saying? Buy once, cry once, right? Buy something a little bit better. That doesn't mean you have to go buy the best. That doesn't mean you have to spend all of your money on a can opener. It just means that you buy something that's a little bit better that you're actually going to get to use and see some results from. The problem with a lot of the things sold at these discount stores is that they're absolutely junk. I mean, you can't buy a piece of clothing there. If you bought a pack of socks, you're going to wear them once or twice and wash them, and they're absolutely, good for rags. It's the same thing with most of the metal products, and it's pretty much the same thing with everything else. And you do not want to buy food from these places because we don't even know what's in that. The point is, buy once, cry once. That means buy a little bit nicer, buy what you can afford, buy something that's quality, but then you keep it for a long period of time. I'm wearing a set of boots right now that I've had for probably 20 years that still look and feel outstanding. They're completely broken in, and I paid way more than I would have expected to pay. And this is also 20 years ago. But the point is, I could have bought something really cheap, like sneakers, right? You can buy them really cheap, but then you wear them and the rubber's really junk and it's super soft. And I run, so I'm going to go run a few times in them. I'm going to be out in the desert over here and literally going to start to fall apart. I'd rather have something that was a little nicer that's going to last me a great deal amount of time. And actually, that is saving money. That is spending way more wisely because you're buying something that's quality. So just, kind of when I'm walking around, I am not attracted to discount stores. Another way that I spend or don't spend my money is I'm not attracted to sales. I never go in for a sale. You see, I buy something when I need it. Just because a store is offering a sale, I know that's just a line they're throwing out to kind of reel me in, right? It's 50% off on stainless steel, kitchenware. That's great. I have good kitchenware, but even if I needed some kitchenware, I would wait until I needed it and I saved up the money to go and buy the kitchenware, and I would buy something really good. If I'm just attracted to the sale, most of the time what happens with sales is they know they're just reeling people in to buy something at that point to get the quick sale, to get the quick buck, and you're spending money that you probably don't have buying something that you may not need. If you needed it, you would have been out shopping for it already. It wouldn't have taken the sale to bring you in. Sales are literally just like a lure, right? That's just a lure to hook you in, and now they've got you there. Oh, and this is such a great deal. This is 75% off. Well, the other thinking on that is that if some store can offer you 75 or 80 or whatever percent off, weren't you just being screwed when it was at the regular price? Yeah, they were getting as much as they could, and now they're just using that to dangle that hook to get rid of inventory that they just need to blow out. It's just a way to get you to spend your hard-earned money that you probably don't even have to spend on that because you don't really need it. So I never get hooked into sales. I buy what I need when I need it. Now, how do I save? If I'm not going to be attracted to a sale, I'm just the king of shopping. I kind of believe that everything that I want is out there at the price I want to pay. And guess what? It is. So far, it has been. Everything from homes to Porsches to Ferraris to investments. I know what I want to spend, and I'm the most patient person in the world. So when I find that item, my next thinking is I'm going to find it at the price I want. How do I do that? Well, I'm a master negotiator. That is another way that I spend or don't spend. I negotiate everything. I ask a lot of questions, and when I need something, I don't always shop new. I mean, a lot of times I am shopping new, but believe it or not, you can negotiate on new too. There are a ton of ways to negotiate on new. You can go direct to the manufacturer. When I see something that's made, I wonder if I can just bypass and just get right to the manufacturer. Many times I can, and if I'm buying in bulk, then I can definitely save some money. But you can negotiate anywhere on anything. This is a thing that most people don't do because maybe they're uncomfortable with it or they don't know it can be done. I mean, I've even bought display merchandise from major manufacturers like Home Depot or Walmart or Lowe's. It's the last one. It's the display one. I'm like, I will buy your display, but I want a discount. Sure enough, they find a discount code and they're able to sell that to you. Everything anywhere can be negotiated. Also, I never negotiate over the phone, and I don't like it when people try and negotiate with me over the phone. Usually you want serious when you're doing that. If I have an item for sale and someone's asking me about a better price over the phone, I may say, yeah, I'm a little flexible on the price. Why don't you come down and look at it? But if they try and get to a hard price right there, I know they're usually not even serious. Almost no one who negotiates over the phone with me ever comes and looks at the product. And I don't do it either. When I negotiate, I want to have respect for the person. I want to be talking to them. Oh, and I want to make sure I'm making an offer that's qualified on something I actually want. I don't want to throw out a number and then get there and be like, nope, it's not what I thought, and it's not the quality I want, and I've wasted both our times, and I'm leaving without making an offer. So I negotiate on everything. I just do it in a very healthy way that's respectful with both the seller and myself, and I make them a real offer that I'm willing to pay right then and there once I know that I'm going to buy it. So I negotiate a lot when I'm spending my money. My ultimate thinking on that is that I already worked for the money. I already have the money. So I'm going to determine exactly how much of that money I'm willing to let go at that period in my life. So it's your money, so spend it wisely, and it's okay to negotiate. Find the price you want. Another thing I do is I don't spend money on credit cards. I never really use credit cards. I have a bank card, and that's my money, my debit, and then sometimes you actually need to use a credit card for something like reserving a hotel or a rental car. They'll want you to have a credit card. They feel more protected. So I have credit cards, but I don't rack up any debt on those credit cards. And if I was forced to put a hotel room or a rental vehicle because I'm traveling on that, then the second I get back to my office, I just pay the bill in full. So I don't carry balances on credit cards. Anything you buy on a credit card, you're just paying interest on, right? You're financing it. So actually, it's not a good money decision because you don't have that money to begin with, which means that's why you're probably putting on a credit card. Of course, unless in the area, like I said, you have to do it to reserve a room or something. But I tend to save for the things I want. When I want to make a purchase, whatever it is, I mean, if it's a vacation, if it's a vehicle, if it's a new suit, if it's a dinner, a night out, or a weekend away, I just save for it. I figure what it's going to cost, and I just do the diligence, and I take the time and I put the money away into savings. When I spend money, I want to spend my money. And when I spend my money, I'm not racking up interest rates. I'm not making future payments. I mean, today people will have a pizza delivered and they will be paying interest on that pizza for weeks or months because they put it on a credit card, okay? So they put tips on credit cards. So they're actually paying interest on a tip. You're paying interest on money you gave to somebody else. Can you understand that and rationalize that for a minute? Absolutely ridiculous. So I just don't use credit cards. You have to have credit cards today because there are certain institutions that want you to have them to do business with them. But basically, I will use it to reserve the car, keep the car on hold till I fly in, reserve a room. Sometimes I'll even pay for the room at cash at the end, or I'll just pay for it with my debit card. If I'm forced to put something on a card that has to live there, believe me, the second I get home, that balance just gets paid. So I do not spend money on credit cards. It's just a bad idea. And, more than half of America is in a debt, and part of that is credit card debt. So just learn from their mistakes and don't make the same mistakes. The last thing I do is I employ the rule of 5. Now, I did a specific video just on the rule of 5. And I'll break it down really quickly and then just tell you how I'm using it today. But the rule of 5 says that you can afford to buy something. You can afford to do something and spend that amount of money if you have all of your bills currently paid, all of your debts are settled, maybe aside from, say, a big mortgage you're holding or car payment. You have 5 times that amount of money in savings. So let's just look at a typical example. You want to go away for the weekend with your friends. They said, hey, we're going on a whitewater river rafting trip and it's going to be great, but it's $500 a person, right? And that's the whole weekend. It's all inclusive. Like, just come to my house. I'll drive you to Colorado and it's $500, but you need the $500. So you say, I would love to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. So it's mid-month and you kind of look and you say, okay, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have my rent due. and that's X amount. And I got a car payment coming up, and that's X amount. I'm going to have to pay utilities again, and I got a cell phone bill. Okay, and maybe a couple of subscriptions I'm paying. Well, if all of those bills are paid, in other words, you have all that money accounted for, that's already sitting tucked away in savings, and then to boot, you have $2,500 available in your other accounts, $2,500. So that's $500 that you need for the trip times 5. That's $2,500. So if all your bills are accounted for and you have 5 times the amount of money you need, you can go afford to do that. That's what the rule of 5 says. If you can do this, you will not get in financial trouble. You will always have money in reserve. You will have enough to do that and then some. Hell, if you go away and you spend the $500 and then you come back and you had an emergency right away, you'd still be okay. Most people don't do that. Most people, they say, I've got a couple more checks coming in. I don't have much money in savings, but I've got $600 in savings. That's enough to go do a $500 trip. And then when I get back from the weekend, I still have 2 more weeks of work to save up that money to pay my bills at the beginning of the month. This is how everyone gets behind. In other words, you don't really have the money. You say you have the money, but you don't. Having $600 in your bank account is not enough to go do a $500 weekend trip. Something is going to happen, and you may even spend more than $500, or maybe there was something that you wanted to buy when you were away, or maybe you needed to account for something, or maybe there was a insurance premium on the renting of the raft that everybody ended up having to kick in for. There's going to be something, and you are going to be so tight that you're going to get home Monday morning broke and go to work broke and then need every single dime from the next 2 weeks to maybe pay all of your bills. This is just such a common thing. I see it every single week. This is just how people live. They have a few dollars saved and they think that's enough to go do the thing I want. And it really never is. Not to mention, what are you going to do when an emergency happens, or, the shite really hits the fan, or you get a rent increase, or God forbid your car breaks down or needs oil change or brakes done? Then what? Life just happens. I think it was John Lennon who said, life is what's happening while we're busy making plans, right? So we're planning to do all of this exciting stuff, and life's just happening, right? All around us. And that's when we get into financial trouble. So I tend to be a little more on the conservative side when I spend, and I think that's important, and I think you should be too. I want you to remember these concepts: mindset, how you think, how you go out into the world. The mindset you carry with you should be the mindset of the lender, not the spender. You want to have the money. You want to be the guy or girl with the money and not go out just prepared to spend all your money. And you do that by planning. Right? Planning will always help you save in the long run. 2, no more discount stores. That stuff is not quality. Buy once, cry once. Have a little bit more thought going into what you buy and purchase something that's quality and keep it for a long time, maybe even forever. I don't get roped in by sales. You shouldn't either. And I don't spend on a credit card. You want to have a credit card. Sometimes it's good to have, but you don't want to carry a balance. That's where you get in trouble with the really high interest rates. Learn the power of negotiating, become a master negotiator, and realize you can negotiate anything once you develop the mindset that the price you want to pay for something is out there. You just have to do the diligence and find it. And of course, last, employ the rule of 5. Maybe go back and you will find my video on the rule of 5, in which I get greatly into detail on how to do it. And I even employ this rule today with larger purchases. So my name is Daniel F. Margasa. You are watching the Almost Criminal Millionaire channel. And if you enjoy learning about the topics of finance, money, and the health and wealth of your bank account, then please like and subscribe for more.